Welcome to BW TV. Today, I have with me the Deputy Mayor of London for Business, Mr. Rajesh Agrawal, who is here leading the trade mission to India. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Agrawal. First of all, I would like to ask you, what are the key objectives of this mission, and what other countries are you planning to visit, and what are the key objectives for those missions?
Well, it's a pleasure to be in India as always. As I'm somebody who was born and brought up in Indore. It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm here with 10 amazing entrepreneurs who run tech businesses which are highly innovative. They are looking at India with a lot of interest, potentially expanding into India, developing partnerships and raising funds. And we are very excited, and equally we are happy to invite companies who are looking for global expansion from India to come into London.
How has your experience been so far? You've been here for a few days now. Are there any key takeaways that you can take with you going forward?
But I'm amazed at how India is growing so rapidly. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world, and it's hugely exciting for us in Britain to look at it. And I think UK and India are ideal partners going forward in the 21st century. So whether it's tech, life sciences, climate tech, all of these things, there's enormous potential for London and India to work together, and that's what we are here to tap. It's absolutely amazing what India has achieved, particularly if you talk about examples like fintech. In digital payments, what India has achieved is absolutely phenomenal, and now UPI tech stack is now even being exported around the world. So there's a big opportunity for London companies and Indian companies to work together, collaborate, innovate, and solve some of the biggest challenges of the world.
Absolutely, and India and London definitely have a very long-standing relationship. But tell me, last year, 2022, was a difficult year for London, for the UK, with media reports coming out talking about the economic downturn. But this year, you have obviously come up with so many different initiatives from London and Partners, London for Business, you being here for this mission. What is the game plan for 2023 to kind of combat this economic downturn that was faced last year?
Well, the economies around the world faced a huge challenge in the last few years with the pandemic, the biggest pandemic in over 100 years. But the fundamental strengths of London and the UK are intact. London is the biggest financial capital in the world on the tech front. Now it's the second biggest tech ecosystem in the world. And the fundamental strengths, we've got phenomenal universities, over 50 universities in London, 4 of which are among top 30 universities in the world. So those fundamental strengths of London and the UK remain the same, and we are building on those strengths now going forward in London. And I think there's a huge opportunity for London and India to come together and collaborate.
I think you're absolutely correct there. London is one of the leading financial centers, and you just mentioned that banking is a big sector, finance is a big sector, tech is a really big, ever-emerging sort of sector. But can you tell me about some of the initiatives, including this mission, that you have undertaken to kind of attract foreign investment in the financial services sector?
Well, first of all, I'm very glad to report that when I first became Deputy Mayor 7 years ago, India was about 4th biggest investor in London, and I'm very glad to say now it's the largest investor in London, and Indian companies are employing huge numbers of people, and several new companies from India are now expanding and using London as a base to grow internationally. And we've got many initiatives. I'm also chair of the organization called London and Partners, which is London's trade and investment promotion agency. We had one office in Mumbai a few years ago. We then added another office of Bangalore, and I'm glad to announce that we've just opened a 3rd office in Delhi. We are there to support and help companies from the UK to navigate into India market, equally for Indian companies who want to grow internationally. Mayor's International Business Program helps London companies to look internationally. Over 1,200 companies have gone through this program, which helped them tap into some of the biggest markets in the world, like India. I've got a simple message that London is open. London is open for business, for visitors, for tourists, for trade, for investments, and for students.
That's a strong message to send out there. Thank you for sharing that. But can you tell me also, like, what specific sectors do you see as having the most potential for growth and investment in London?
Well, tech is an obvious one, which is a fast-growing sector. Apart from that, life sciences, and of course, the big challenge that our planet faces today is around climate change, and the technologies and the businesses that will solve some of those challenges, I think, presents a huge opportunity to tap into. So I think some of these areas, whether it's EV charging, whether it's housing and construction in a green way, and of course, as London being the financial capital of the world, area of green finance is a huge opportunity. I mean, London has got very mature capital markets, and I know many of the Indian public sector outfits have actually raised money on London Stock Exchange through masala bonds, and I think there's further opportunity for Indian companies and organizations to tap into London's deep capital markets and raise money.
Thank you for sharing that. Can you now tell me also, how is your office working with the Indian government and with Indian businesses to promote trade between India and London?
Well, again, we work very closely with the British High Commission in India, and of course the Indian High Commission in London to facilitate trade and investment. I'm also very glad to say I was actually in India just a couple of months ago, and where the Pravasi Bharati Divas was taking place in Indore, a town where I was born and grew up in, and it was a pleasure to meet many government officials on that trip.
Can you also tell us that, right now London is obviously a very big city, but there's also so many other European cities that are also trying to attract investment, and there can be much competition, right? What steps are you taking to ensure that London remains an attractive destination for foreign investment?
Well, we should never take London's success and strengths for granted, yet those fundamental strengths remain. And London is, at the end of the day, a great place to live in. So if you've got young children, we've got great schools. They're grown up. You've got great universities and research institutions. We've got huge financial institutions, and the bank, large number of banks. Actually, there are more American banks in London than there are in New York. And of course, if you are interested in sports like cricket, and by the way, India has now qualified for the World Cup Test final, which will also happen in London. So I invite all Indians to come and watch it over there. If you're interested in tennis, we've got Wimbledon. If you're interested in rugby, we've got Twickenham. If you're interested in football, we've got many stadiums, including Wembley. If you're interested in concert, we've got the O2 and so on. And we've got great cuisine, some fantastic restaurants and so on. So London is a great place, and that is what makes London unique. And of course, the usual advantage for businesses, whether it's the time zone, which places London in quite a unique way, because in London time zone you can cover about 95% of the markets. You've got the English common law. You've got very large talented workforce, ease of doing business, where London features as #1 city in the world every year on the sort of PwC index and so on. So all these are there, but also London's a great place to visit. So I invite everybody to come along.
Absolutely. Can you discuss any specific partnerships or collaborations between London-based companies and Indian businesses?
I mean, there are many collaborations. Of course, some of the biggest employers in UK are actually Indian-owned companies. Tata being one of them, is one of the big employers, and in fact, TCS this year is the lead sponsors of London Marathon when it happens, and there are over 600 Indian companies in the UK, and there are many UK companies in India employing hundreds of thousands of people.
Also, I must ask you this because, recently India surpassed London as one of the fifth largest economy. Do you see India retaining this position, or do you think the UK is going to come back up?
Well, India is, it's not, first of all, it's not a zero-sum game. It's, I say, collaboration, not competition. And both UK and India are ideal partners in the 21st century, and I see Indian economy only growing. I mean, look at India growth story in last 20-25 years. It's sort of steadily sort of grown despite so many challenges, like the global challenges that the world faced, including the pandemic, etc. So with the compounded effect of that, every year the growth becomes bigger and better.
Yeah, and also, out of the top 5 largest economies, 3 of them are Asian countries. You have China, Japan, and India. What is your take on this sort of like shift towards the east that we're seeing?
So again, I mean, India has been long sort of overdue, but it's again collaboration, not competition, and I believe there is enough in the world for everybody in that sense, and I think all the countries can collaborate and sort of work with each other. One country's gain is not other countries' loss necessarily. I think all the countries can work together and gain.
I think that can be a very global kind of motto to have there. But is there any final comments or closing thoughts that you would like to share with us?
I would like to, I just want to say I was born and grew up in Indore in a very humble background. I arrived in London just over 20 years ago with almost nothing. I was able to build 2 successful businesses, then joined politics and had the honor of serving London as its deputy mayor for 2 terms now. It's truly a city of opportunities. It's got a very vibrant Indian community. Just in London alone, there are about 650,000 people of Indian origin. There's never been a better time for London-India relationship. So I look forward to further strengthening the relationship between our 2 great nations.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for speaking with me today. That was Rajesh Agrawal, the Deputy Mayor of London for Business. Thank you.